You asked some questions, I'm gonna answer them, and Taylor's Finance Tips begins again now. Right, so for those who don't use Twitter, I sent out a tweet saying like, hey, I enjoyed doing these finance tips videos, I have a few ideas in the pipeline, but I wanted to make sure we address what you guys are most curious about first. So if you're not interacting with me on Twitter, that's a good way to get your voice heard out there, but I also will interact with the comments from time to time. So if you have a particular topic you're interested in, please let me know, and I'd love to talk more about it. So we're starting with Simos, who asked over on Twitter, how do Louise and I manage our bank accounts? Do we have one for both, or do we have two separate ones? And if any of you wants to buy something, does he/she spend his/her own money or the money of the two of you? So this is a great question because it impacts a lot of people that are thinking about marriage or in marriage currently. Me and Louise actually have joint finances, which means that once we got married, we pretty much immediately pooled our bank accounts together. It's not all under one account, you know, we do have several banks, but basically no penny gets unaccounted for. So for the sake of simplicity, and I also think it's a great foundation for a solid marriage because there's no spending behind the scenes that can cause judgment or can cause confusion later on. So because we have agreed to share our lives together, we have agreed to share our finances together, which honestly makes life so much easier. I mean, some people may think it makes it harder, but honestly, not having to worry about one person or the other spending money without the other person knowing is a huge relief in marriage, that there's just that complete transparency, and anytime we want to buy something, we bring it up to the other person. And Louise, for me, has been more than accommodating for, hey, I need to buy this for work, or I need to buy this, you know, iPhone for videos, or I need to buy this and return it. So she's well aware of everything, but some people just like to keep finances separate. That's good for you, no judgment there, but just saying what works best for us. We've been very happy with joint finances, but I hope that can finally give you guys an answer whenever I'm doing an unboxing video or reviewing an SE or something like that, when people are like, Drew, you always buy the latest greatest phones, why don't you buy your wife something? You know, why don't you buy her a new laptop? Why don't you buy her an iPad or a new Apple Watch and give it to her and surprise her for her birthday or for Christmas? Yeah, when you have joint finances, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to buy an expensive product and give to your wife because we have our money. It's not her money and my money. Everything is shared. So it would be kind of confusing for me to not tell her about a product that I purchased and then give to her because it's ours. So if we want to do a surprise or something, we typically have to let each other know in advance and just be like, hey, I want to get you something for Christmas or for your birthday. It'll cost around this much, but I don't want to tell you what it is. So yeah, the surprise element is a little bit ruined, I guess, when you have joint finances, but at the same time, transparency, I think, is key, and being able to trust each other and not have any secrets is really, really important. So that's why we have joint finances. Milkshake asks, do you have any regrets in what you have done? Of course, hindsight is always going to be 2020. I don't know really anyone that says, well, yeah, I don't think there's anything in life I would have ever done differently. Obviously, the choices we make us who we are today, so we learn from our mistakes and all that, but yeah, if there were some things I could do differently in the past, I definitely would have done them. For instance, when YouTube for me started blowing up and more people were watching my channel and my income was growing a lot, I was not this like finance type of guy. I didn't really care that much about money, and I just thought basically whatever I made that month, that was my budget for the following month. So I would spend a whole lot of money on products or rent once I moved out of my parents' house, and I didn't put any money aside. And thank God the channel kept doing well, because if it didn't, I would have been in big trouble really, really quickly. So in hindsight, would have been much smarter for me to just kind of move into an apartment and work out of that instead of trying to have an apartment and an office and pay for both of them and not really care about putting money aside. And back then I also spent a ton of money on food just because I didn't care, and I figured I have the money, so what's the problem? So I would eat out 1 to 2 times a day, and that was definitely not good for my budget, and I just essentially did not prepare for bad situations to come up and just thought, yeah, this is an endless money supply. So totally would have done that differently, would not have moved into the giant office if I could do this all over again. But some people may think this is weird because I've seen a lot of people say, Drew, you got married really young. It's kind of odd for someone your age to be married. Honestly, I'm not afraid to say this. I wish we got married sooner, because there was a long time where I was a bit nervous about getting married to Louise because I figured I'm so young and I don't know what the rest of my life is going to be like. But once it actually happened and once we started living our lives together, I was like, this is nice. This is cool. You know, we're sharing finances together, which means our monthly expenses go down and we're able able to pool both of our incomes together, and it was just nice not having to, you know, drive to meet up with her, and we're not dating anymore, we just live together, and that saved us a ton of money, and it meant that we just didn't have to leave each other, because I don't like leaving my wife. I like it when she's around. So once I got married, I was like, we should have done this a long time ago, but honestly, everything worked out in the end, so I don't have any huge glooming regrets, but for sure, there's tiny little things that I wish I could go back to younger Drew and be like, hey, be careful about this one. Stefan asks, how about you tell us the best way to build credit as a young person? My brother just turned 18 and he is not sure what the best way of building credit is. So for those who don't know, he wants to build his credit score, which essentially will deem how banks or other companies will loan things to you because they want to see how responsible of a spender you are. And in my opinion, the best way to build credit is probably to apply for a free, emphasis on the free, credit card. There are lots of different credit cards out there. Some cost money to use monthly or annually, and some don't. And as long as you're responsible with it and you do not carry a balance on that credit card, in my opinion, that's what I did, and my credit score was really high by the time we were ready to purchase a house, which of course we took out a loan for. All I did was use one single free credit card, and that was able to actually get my credit score pretty high. Obviously, a lot of credit bureaus will tell you need to open up more lines of loans or more credit cards in order to get your credit score really, really high, but in my opinion, it's not necessary, and I also don't like getting into the game of, well, I'm going to take out a loan on something that I could buy outright just so that my credit score will increase. I don't know. To me, it just seems kind of like backwards logic. It's like I'm spending more money now so that I can get better deals on loans in the future, which will save money. So a free credit card means that you don't have to spend any extra cash in order to increase your credit score, because as long as you pay off the balance on the credit card and you don't put a bunch of expenses on there that you can't afford to pay off, and make sure there's no interest payments on that card and you don't miss anything, the credit bureaus will see that you're a responsible spender. You, the end user, don't have to spend any money. Credit card company will send you the card for free, and you also get to benefit rewards out of that, because most credit cards, even the Apple Card, have decent cashback rewards or special perks when you sign up for them. But I would say if you're young and you're just getting started, definitely lean towards the free ones. I would not recommend getting a tier 3 or tier 4 credit card out the gate, and they probably wouldn't approve of you anyway. So in my experience, that's the best way to build credit. Now Jay asks, what should younger audiences under 18, so like the 14 to 17 age, do now so that they can set themselves up for the future? Which is a great question, because I know a lot of you guys are not over 18 yet, and my advice to you is, you know, you're already on a good track. If you're watching finance videos like this, that probably means you pay more attention than I did when I was your age, because I didn't watch any of these types of subjects. I didn't care about finance. I just, I'll make money somehow. I'll figure it out. The best thing you can do when you're young is basically set goals for yourself and start building in habits that can apply to you later in life, because when you're young, there's certain things that you get used to and certain things that you'll become comfortable with that will carry out for the rest of your life. So a good start would just be, what money am I going to save? Whether it's for, you know, saving up for college, or saving up for a product, or saving for a car when you get old enough to drive yourself. All kinds of just money that you have coming in that you put aside, and just understand, I don't touch that money. That is reserved for a specific thing. It doesn't even have to be reserved for a product or something you plan on purchasing. It can just be savings, because having an emergency fund is going to be very, very crucial when you're independent and not living with your parents or anything like that. I don't know the exact situation for all of you. I know some of you probably don't have an income at all and you're just living with your parents, in which case I would say whatever money you happen to run into, whether it be allowance or birthday or Christmas money, the most simple advice I could give you is just don't spend it all. Put some away for an emergency, whether if something comes up later in life, and just get comfortable with the idea that just because you have the money for something doesn't instantly mean you need to spend it on something. I was very much like that when I was under 18, and I was very much comfortable with saying, oh, well, I have $1,000 and this new phone costs $1,000, so boom, I'll buy the phone, because I don't want to just have cash sitting on me. In your adult life, it's going to become very normal for you to have money, think, okay, I'm fine, but then something comes up and you have to get rid of a lot of that money. And if you don't have an emergency fund, or if you don't have savings to pull out of, you can get in big trouble really quickly. So young habits, like setting goals for yourself of, I want to have this much saved by the end of the year, or I'm going to put this percentage of my money aside, whether it's 30% or 20% of your income you're going to put aside for a rainy day, or just in case something goes bad and you need to make a purchase soon, like your laptop dies on you or your phone needs to be replaced. Just preparing for the worst, and those things you can start doing at a very, very young age, and you can apply those habits you learn now once you get older. So those are the top questions, very good ones, by the way, that I'm glad you guys asked. And again, I have some more subjects I wanted to dive into later, but I wanted to prioritize what you guys were most curious about first. So make sure to hit me up over on Twitter, join my Discord if you want to talk more about finance subjects or you want me to dive deeper into something there. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day. Take care.